So we are now in Tasmania,
in Denman's Cove,
which is the start of the Three Capes track, which we're going to do over the next 4 days. We'll have 3 nights where we stay in huts.
and lots of hills. And it was quite a journey to get here. We had to get up at 6:20, drag ourselves out to the bus, take the bus to the place, and then I lost my phone, so find the phone. And then we took a boat here, and now we're ready to hike.
So it was a lovely boat ride, and now we're just hanging out on the beach. We've only got an hour or 2 hike to the first hut today, so we're really taking it easy. We're trying to really soak up and enjoy the Tasmanian wilds here.
Wish you were here.
Well, here we are on the Three Capes track, and this is our very first hut. Pretty impressive. It looks gigantic.
Hi from the trail here. This is day 2 and it's easy tramping and great weather.
We are still on the Three Capes track, and we're hiking to the Monroe cabin or hut. And our first one was just a spectacular building with big expansive decks and beautiful woodwork and a big kitchen and fully equipped. It was more luxurious than we had anticipated.
But sleeping in a group situation like that is interesting. I heard a stampede in the middle of the night of people slamming doors and running somewhere.
And of course, there's always snoring. But we're on day 2 now, and we're in the middle of the hike, and we have, again, just spectacular nice weather. Sunshine, good breezes throughout. We've had spectacular viewpoints from high on the cliff, and then walking through some flat plains with different vegetation.
And there's artwork along the way that there are stories about that we can read about.
Yeah, I'm just really enjoying the great variety of vegetation and views we're having. So far, it's been really good.
Tomorrow it's going to be windy though, so we'll see. Long day and wind.
Here we are at the Monroe hut. Once again, fabulous, expansive decks. Multiple buildings all over, showers, kitchens. It's pretty nice. Another fabulous part of this walk is as we go in and out of the Cape, we'll be exposed to the wind or be on the sunny sheltered side, and it's just dramatic differences in the temperatures, both radiant and the cooling wind, and the vegetation changes, so that adds a lot. Another really fun thing about this trail is the fabulous trail building they've done. Here's a view of Tasman Island, and there's a few boats out on the water, and I see one here. It looks like a fishing boat, and it seems to be a small boat on the edge of a very big ocean. And as we look out in the distance, Antarctica is somewhere across this span of water. There are also on this track extensive walkways of wood covered with chicken water, which carry us over the wet spots and keeps our feet dry. They're really functional, but in my view, not very aesthetic. Another fun part of this walk is the artwork they've incorporated. We're coming up to the end of this wooden pathway, and it says, "My blood runs cold." And this is the head of the snake. And as I walk the other way from the head of the snake, we go along the twisty path, and I think we find the tail of the snake ahead. And after about 45 minutes of walking, we've come into this boardwalk and the tail of the snake. Here's a wallaby we encountered along the side of the path. They're really common, and we've seen a number of them around the huts in the evening time. So we're nearing the end of the day when we started at the Monroe Hut and hiked to Cape Pillar. And now we're heading to Retakuna Hut. And it's been a fabulous hike. We're about 12 miles in now and ready to get to the hut. But now we're in eucalyptus forest, and it's quite different from what we saw out on the Cape. Okay, it's day 4 of the 3 Capes track. And today we are climbing the stairs up Mount Fortescue. Apparently, instead of switchbacks here in Tasmania, they use stairs to go up and down. So that's what we're doing. We have a lot of stairs in front of us. This one is called Blood on the Velvet Lounge. And therein lies a story, no doubt. Up we go, climbing the stairway to heaven, or Mount Fortescue, as the case may be here. How many steps? I do not know. I think of the capes and the ocean below.
You're a poet, and I didn't know it.
Here's a view from Mount Fortescue, looking back at Cape Pilar, where we hiked yesterday. And it may be hard to see, but in the middle of it, you can see the pathway. And then way out at the point is where we were for spectacular views. And we were eye to eye with the lighthouse on Tasman Island. We're now descending from Mount Fortescue, and we're a really different environment than a lot that we've seen in Tasmania. It's because you can see a lot of moss and fern trees again, and another designer bench. Here we are amongst the fern trees once again, and they've built a throne for us. Named the throne, so I will now read to you. If you come upon a grove of ancient trees that have lifted their crowns up above the common height and shut out the light of the sky by the darkness of their interlacing boughs, you feel that there is a spirit in the place. So lofty is the wood, so lone the spot, so wondrous the thick, unbroken shade. Lucius Annaeus Seneca, 1st century AD.
Oh, those steps made of rocks and sweat for both water and feet to descend.
We've come down from the top of Mount Fortescue, and we're hiking along the edge of the Dolerite cliffs. And it's much different here. The sun has come out. The eucalypts are small, and there's a lot more different understory. And they've built a lovely winding path right on the edge of the cliffs.
How hard these never-ending steps. They go on, but they're the only way to go.
So we're now doing a 2-hour out and back to Cape Howe, and it's very different here. Contrast to the rainforest, and it's much more open, drier vegetation, big sweeping views out to the Cape ahead. Quads and knees beware.
They like stairs here in Tassie. but
soreness leads to strength. So we just finished day 4 of the Three Capes track, and there's no better way to end it, I think, than a dip in the ocean at the end on a beautiful white sand beach.